G'day. It's been a while, so let's quickly jump into it. Um, this is a topic that I've wanted to discuss for a while now. I just haven't had time to do these brain streams. But we're going to talk about security, computer vision. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of augmented reality in there as well. But I want to just discuss the way I see the future of security. Let me make it very brief, and then we can go back into the details. Security is the security of the past, where we had multiple cameras that had a decent resolution and was passed off to a monitoring center to be able to kind of view and see what's going on after hours, or having to have security guards stand by. But let's focus more on like the CCTV part. That is a thing of the past. Wouldn't it be much cooler if your system itself didn't just manage itself, but it also surveilled itself? It analyzed what was going on and would be able to autonomously take proactive charge preventative measures, and really understand what's actually going on and help you action issues rather than just being there as a standalone kind of security guard or just field of views in order to show you what's going on. Mind my burn. Even on cold days in Australian summer, you can get quite burnt. Okay, so that's the kind of like vision. That's the kind of direction that we're looking at. Years ago, I started helping out in security, and I came to a conclusion that all the salespeople, this is going back like 4 or 5 years ago, it's not that long ago, all the salespeople would come and they would, like, back in the day, it was like briefcases, and they'd show you the actual hardware, like model of it. And that was how they sold you on the cameras. Look at our device. Nowadays, getting a bit better, but I think the direction is fundamentally like off a little bit, because what established security companies have done is that they've improved the cameras to a point that kind of the regular camera you're going to get now is 2K, 4K. It's pretty decent. But they keep trying to build on the products. There are a few features that still need to come out and be universal. One of them being night vision that's just as good as, that's in color. The infrared of the past, or really the present, has to really go. I saw a documentary, an Apple made a documentary. I think it was something about the nighttime, but they were using these cameras, massive things, but obviously as technology shrinks down, this will come. And I think there's a Real-Link camera that actually employs something like this, which keeps the shutter open enough, gets as much light as possible, and can actually take a video in the dark when it's pitch black. Any other camera would be seeing black. And this device is actually recording in color. Infrared will not be around. Infrared will be replaced with this technology, and I hope really, really soon. And there's also some really cool features that are still going to be coming to cameras and improving them. That's definitely going to keep happening. But the way I see it, the way I feel is cameras come to a point where, like in quality, where you don't need to go more. 4K is more than fine. Even 8K. Beyond that, you just need to get as much detail for your image to be analyzed. Now, the way that systems work nowadays is the feeds were never meant to be analyzed by machines. They were meant to be analyzed by people. The whole paradigm was take as much footage, after hours send it over to a monitoring company, have a human being sit there in front of a bank of cameras and monitor your site after hours. During hours, maybe you also have a security guard that's also just sitting there monitoring the site. But the most part was it wasn't a preventative measure. It was it would happen after the event happened, and so you could just figure out, okay, the guy had a red shirt and a black beanie. I think it would be much cooler, and I think that the real direction is going is, instead of having to employ a human being to sit there and watch, it's going, okay, let's have computer vision, understand what's going on the scene, not just recognize what's happening, not just be able to tell me, oh, we recognize it's a person, that's a vehicle. Those are things that are basics. They should be in every system today. A lot of traditional companies, especially the commercial ones, the enterprise ones, are kind of adding these things on as features and add-ons and charging you more money, because that's what they have to do at every step of the way. They don't realize that the security is shifting to being software focused, which is where a lot of industries went. And I think most security companies do not understand that. They're still selling you on the hardware. They're still here and changing wires and things like that. The reality is, once you have the wiring, or once you have the basic hardware of what a really good camera can give, and obviously that's going to improve, right? Like I said, examples like better night vision, things like that. But once you hit a certain point, which we've already hit, for the vast majority of cameras, the power is in the software. And especially is when you bring in computer vision, when you bring in artificial intelligence. Now, we're going steps beyond what they have today. Today, you'll be lucky if you have a very good system. Well, your main residential systems will have personal detection, vehicle detection, things like that. But we're getting to a point which is way beyond that, right? So face recognition. This is something that Apple brings on their kind of iCloud version of it. And it's not difficult because it's built into Google Photos, built into iCloud Photos, built into... a lot of the systems have it, but obviously you need the compute power, the point is that we need to go way beyond that. It's not just recognition. We need to start understanding what's going on. So one of the companies that I work with, has just brought out some new AI features. Some were interesting, like audio transcription. Could be quite interesting to see that once you record it and you get a transcript, you can search through it. They also bring natural language search. So through the videos, natural language, quite powerful. So they have something like, before you might have had a system where you could say, okay, I'm looking for a person. Then the systems got a little bit better and they said, I'm looking for a person wearing a red shirt or something like that. And there was a really cool company, I think, I can't remember, it was an Israeli startup that this is a couple years ago, they allowed search like this through parameters. So you could look up someone with a red jumper, but what the cool thing was is they condensed it all. So every time it saw that person, instead of you looking through hours of footage, through the one screen, every time it saw that person, it would kind of like overlay them next to each other. So you would end up having like 20 versions of a person, and the video would be condensed into 2 minutes because the background doesn't really change. It's the person that's walking around that changes. So searching became much easier. But that was a couple years ago. That was really cool. Still would love to see those. We're seeing improvements where we're now not only just be able to give parameters, like this system that I have just got a software update. Again, all software. Got a software update like 6 months ago where you could start searching cars by their color and types of cars, like sedans, things like that. Then they introduced AI search, more natural search. So you could say, I'm looking for a red Tesla. Actually be able to understand the model of the car. That's quite powerful. Even if it doesn't see a badge or identifier, it's able to see it via computer vision. But you could also go more than that. You could use natural language. You could say, I'm looking for someone in a red hoodie with a black beanie that was creeping around at night last night, or show me anyone that had that in the last 7 days. You can have a natural search, which becomes a lot more powerful, and you're able to find things. Now, there's going to be some really cool new features. Again, if I could condense those things, there's a cooler. But the step above that, this is just search, right? And transcript is also. So if you could search for someone, I'm looking for someone that's said this word or said this phrase or been discussing this, and find that. Imagine looking for, you know that something bad is going on in a certain thing, and you could search, has anyone been speaking about this that's been picked up by my cameras, and find that out and find that, that conversation. These are incredibly powerful things. But really the next steps is the system actually be able to monitor itself and be able to proactively identify things. I'll give you an example. When you have a security guard, a good security guard, what they're going to do is they're going to use their intelligence, and over a period of time, they're going to learn everything about the area, right? They're going to learn about the houses, the people, the cars, who's regular, what times, things like that. A good security guard will get the lay of the land and understand what's going on and be able to work, and that greatly empowers them. There was an incident recently, it was during the day, a couple youths climbed over a property and went inside and sat there. Thankfully nothing, no one was harmed in the end. But I was asked, why wasn't this picked up? And the question is how? Like, you can have triggers for like if someone comes on the property at night when no one else is supposed to be there. You can have different faces, but when you have a site that many people are coming through, what kind of parameters do you put on to a system, right? You're not talking about a person. A person, this is where we're going, a person will very easily identify, hey, those 5 should not be here. The fact that they're climbing over a fence is an issue. But in the way that systems work, even a system as powerful as this, which is at the cutting edge of notifications and looking out for things, what parameters can you give to it to explain, alert me if someone is climbing over a fence during the day? Now, that small thing that I just gave the example, that is possible. It's not something that you think would be happening during the day, but that is possible. But to identify someone you haven't seen before, or what do I say, look for teenagers? You've got families coming in the whole day. Like, how do you explain to a machine, or how do you explain to a program that has very, very basic notification alarm setup that teenagers coming in the property at the day is a bad thing? For a guard that has been there for a while, has never seen these kids before, doesn't recognize them, knows something's going on, they will be alerted, and they can also proactively deal with that. So that's a very big thing. Most systems are not prepared for something like that today. It's a fairly benign thing, but unless you have every single alarm in the sun set up to trigger that someone, a teenager that haven't seen all these different parameters, you're not going to find that. But a human does that, and that's where we're going to get into this with a camera system. A camera system, just like a machine, just like a human, a guard, someone watching, should be able to easily pick up these things up in the future and be able to say, oh, I start seeing these people. Oh, and I start seeing a pattern when they're coming in and out. It should pick up people, patterns, activities, things like that. And therefore, it'll be much easier for it to understand, hey, this is an anomaly. Climbing over a fence is not a good thing. No matter where the fence is, no matter if I've put a specific crossing line over here and tell me if a human being has climbed over it, I'm going to now detect that person at much higher rates. I'm going to have a better understanding that that person should not be climbing that fence. I'm going to have a much, much better understanding that I've never seen these kids before because I've got hundreds of days of footage or years of footage. And I'm going to start also knowing timing. Like at this time, those kind of people should be coming in, not these kind of people. To set these up manually, to make these, it's kind of the same thing as like let's say self-driving. To have parameters or to have rules for every scenario is nearly impossible. Like, do you have a rule for if a duck is crossing a road with 7 little ducklings? No. You come up, when you re-architect that with machine learning, your neural network are going to reorganize and saying, hey, that is something I have to avoid. I don't have to be trained in that's a duck and that exact scenario. I start learning the basics of what I need to avoid, and then I am able to pick up an anomaly where a rule I can't set up a rule for every single event. Event-based rules they become very, very crazy. So we're going to come to that place where we're not going to have event-based rules. We're going to have a system that's going to continuously learn. It's going to learn the people, all those different things. Then also proactively. So you have systems that, you could put a speaker above a camera and you can have it tripped on an alarm that if I see a person after hours, if I have a person watching this, if I have a guard watching this, the guard can, I think they call it speak down or talk down. They can scare the person away by actually speaking to them, but bring it into their system. An AI can do that because an AI can now get an understanding of that, right? Just where we said before, the natural search, that's because it's learning how to describe an image. When it describes an image, it's able to the search is able to find that what's going on because it's described all the images going on. So very soon the talk down can all be AI. It could say, hey, you with the red shirt and the black beanie, you're not meant to be here. Stop climbing. If you keep doing this, I will move to phase 1, phase 2. I will call the police, X, Y, Z. You start having a system that's controlled by an AI rather than having to rely on a third-party company or rely on a person that's always watching things. You could look for anomalies, and then you can also learn, do I alert people or do I deal with things going on? That's just a brief overview of where that future is. And I think technology companies, they've got a reason not to move. A lot of them are just fully entrenched in their ways, and security was never an IT thing, but I think the companies that wake up to that and realize that it is an IT thing, the advancements now are on the software. The hardware will keep improving. Yes, it will. Like an iPhone. There will be new models like a Tesla. All these things will come out, but the advancements, the power of it will be in the software. And the companies that do not understand that all lockdown software or basic features to every single thing is an add-on or every single thing is a new device will be missing out, not just understanding the future, but they'll be missing out of the direction that we're going. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the future.